On December 9th, 2023, an unexpected catastrophe happened. A large, deadly tornado outbreak occurred in multiple states, producing a lot of tornadoes, a lot of damaging tornadoes, mass destruction, several deaths. We're going to be breaking down that event today, most of the stuff that happened in it, and really just about as precise as we can get with how bad this was. Okay. Now, I actually have a pretty funny story about this tornado. So, I was actually at a car dealership. I knew that there were supposed to be a few tornadoes possible today, but like I said, nobody expected the outbreak to be that bad, right? But then I check the radar, right? I see this huge tornado warning up, and then I check the NWS Twitter, and I noticed that a tornado PDS warning was issued. That stands for particularly dangerous situation if you're not aware, and I was like, oh my gosh. For reference, we had not gotten a PDS tornado warning for about 3.5 months before that time frame, and whenever we did get the PDS, the last one, it was in Michigan for an EF2 tornado. So that was the moment that I realized, okay, this outbreak is going to be pretty bad. So we had that PDS tornado warning issued, and by the time that I actually found out about it, it was already over. But then that supercell actually recycled, producing an even larger tornado that entered Clarksville, Tennessee, and became the massive, dangerous tornado that everybody knows it as now. It ended up being EF3 in strength, okay? If you don't know, EF3 strength is nothing to play around with, okay? There was no tornado emergency issued for this, even though, in my opinion, there should have been, as tornado emergencies are usually issued for tornadoes that are EF3 or higher. And I mean, I was watching that thing on radar, and it was just destroying everything in its path. It stayed down for almost an hour. At some points, it was up to 2 miles large. It was just terrible. This tornado also caused a pretty big explosion. It was either this one or the Hendersonville tornado, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, but it caused a pretty big explosion, which just added to the deadliness. Okay, this tornado ended up, unfortunately, killing 3 people as of right now, but the damage is still being surveyed. But we have tons of damage reports of broken houses. You can see the pictures up on screen. I mean, it was just a complete disaster, okay? Worse than anybody could have ever possibly imagined. Next up, we have got the Hendersonville tornado. This ended up being an EF2 tornado. That being said, it was a high-end EF2 tornado, and I was actually live while this tornado dropped, and a tornado emergency was issued by the National Weather Service. It was right on the cusp of whether it was a PDS tornado or if it was a tornado emergency status. It went back and forth several times, okay, but at one point there was a tornado emergency for LaGuardo and Hendersonville, okay. This ended up causing 3 deaths as well, just like the other one. Nearly 2 dozen hospitalizations as well, and tons more injuries. And then obviously it caused a lot of destruction too that you're seeing on your screen. All right, this one was definitely not a good thing that happened. Now that I think about it, I believe this was actually the tornado that did cause that explosion. I am going to try to find a picture of that if I can, that I have the copyright that I'm allowed to use without getting stung in the face by copyright. But yeah, this was a bad tornado. Me looking at it on radar, I was speechless. Okay, this one had a huge debris signature. It was on the ground for like an hour. Okay, it was just not a good situation at all. It was deadly. I mean, it was. There's no other way to describe it than deadly. Put whatever adjective you want on it. Deadly, catastrophic. It was all of those things. And the third and final tornado that I would like to break down today is the Springfield, Tennessee tornado. Okay, now this one also has an interesting story. I was live for it, and whenever I saw that we had 2 separate PDS tornadoes going at once, my heart literally sank. Okay, this one was probably the weakest out of the 3 tornadoes that we're talking about today. It did not last as long, and it was a little bit smaller, but it was still a deadly tornado, likely. Okay, I guess I shouldn't say deadly because we haven't gotten any reported confirmed deaths out of it yet, but we definitely could because damage is still being surveyed, alright, and it did cause a lot of destruction, obviously, as you're seeing on screen right now. This is the only one out of the 3 that I'm talking about today that is currently unrated. If I had to guess, it's going to fall in that high-end EF1 to low-end EF2 status, probably the high-end EF1. This one was not showing as much on radar, and it still got a decent amount of damage, but not as much as the others, it's looking like, okay? So overall, this is probably the weakest of the 3, but still bad. Now, these were not all the tornadoes that happened on December 9th, being yesterday at the time of uploading, and not even close to all of them, but these were the three that really stood out as, okay, this was a tornado outbreak. You know, these were the three main ones that caused all the damage photos that you saw. Yes, those were real photos from all of the individual tornadoes. They were the ones that are probably going to end up having the highest ratings out of all of them. The first two were the ones that got their ratings first, okay, so it was pretty obvious that they were the important ones. And then the Springfield one also got a PDS warning, so I figured I should bring it up. But yeah, overall, if I had to describe this tornado outbreak in one word, I would say unexpected, okay? Because you gotta understand, we went into yesterday with a slight risk of severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. That did get quickly upgraded to an enhanced risk after the Clarksville, Tennessee tornado. But for a while, we thought this was just going to be a normal day of severe weather. Nothing significant was going to happen. But that turned out to be quite the opposite. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thoughts and prayers go out to those that lost their lives in this tornado outbreak, unfortunately. And I'll see you all in the next one. Stay safe.